Hi class, let's work on our unit conversion worksheet next. So I'm going to step through the problems here with you, and hopefully you can follow through the logic as I approach these problems with you. The first thing I want to point out is whenever I give you any of these conversion problems or conversion worksheet or a quiz or a test, I'm always going to give you these conversions here, right? These conversions here. This block of conversions in here. I always will give those to you. So I don't want you to memorize them. Right? Do not worry about memorizing them. I will give you any conversion that you need. Okay? All I want you to know is how to use these conversions. And before we go into the first problem, there's one more concept I'd like to talk about, and that's the idea of a gateway. What do I mean by a gateway? A gateway is something that goes from one system of measurement, here we have inches, so that's in the English system, to a different system of measurement, here we have centimeters, which is in the metric system. So our gateways take us from one system of measurement, either English or metric, into the other, again, either metric or English. So this particular gateway, this is our gateway for distance, right, inches and centimeters. We have two more gateways here that I want to point out. The next one's for mass, 1 kilogram equals 2.2 pounds. And finally, our third one here is for volume. 1 gallon is 3.78 liters. So why am I taking the time to point these out to you? Because they're very important. You're gonna need to use them and understand them. If you're given a problem where it starts out in one unit of measurement, one system of measurement here, like kilometers, and it ends up in a different one, you're gonna need to go through one of these gateways. So these gateways are gonna help guide you as you move from one system of measurement into another. We're starting in kilometers here. We know that if we're gonna go over to English and feet, somehow we've gotta get to the point where we can use our distance gateway, inches and centimeters. So that tells you right off that even though you're starting in kilometers, we can't go directly to feet. We're gonna have to start at kilometers. We know we're gonna have to go through this gateway, so we know we're gonna have to get kilometers down to centimeters. That'll get us over to inches. And then finally, we can find the conversion that gets us inches up to feet, okay? So let's get rid of these two highlights that I just did here real quick. And let's do our problem. All right, so in all these problems, remember, we start them off with, what do we have? Our 5 kilometers, and we're going to put it over 1. We take simply our given, and we're going to put it over 1. Now we have to do our first conversion. We know we're at kilometers. We're going to use our gateway, so we have to get to centimeters. Is there a conversion up here that goes from kilometers to centimeters? Well, if you look, you're going to see there is not one. So we got to find which one are we going to need. Well, we know we're in kilometers. What conversions up here do we have that have kilometers? Well, here we go. We have this conversion. 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So that's the next conversion we're going to put into place. Right? Now, how do we know which way to write this? We have kilometers in the top over in our first term here, so we better put our kilometers in the bottom when we write in this conversion term, right? Because we want the kilometers to cancel. So we're down over to meters, which is good. We're going in the right direction, but we still haven't gotten to centimeters, which is where we know we need to go. So we're going to look for a conversion up here that has meters. There, whoop. That has meters. I'm going to use one right above it. 1 meter is 100 centimeters. All right, so let's go through. Let's add that term in. How do we know which goes in the bottom? Well, we have meters in the top of this term, so meters better go in the bottom when we write this next term. All right, there we go. So now we're into centimeters. Now we can use our conversion, our gateway conversion. Now be careful, because you're going to see there's a couple others up here that have centimeters in them, right? Like this one here in the bottom. We don't want to go there. We don't need to go to millimeters. We know we've got to our gateway. We've got the centimeters. Let's use the gateway conversion. Okay. So we put our gateway conversion in there. Again, we had centimeters in the top, so we put centimeters in the bottom. That got us to inches. And now we got to figure out how to get to feet. What one do we have that takes us from inches to feet? There we go. 1 foot's 12 inches. So let's write that into our calculation. And if you look, let's look at our units. Let's do a quick double check to make sure we haven't done anything backwards. All right. Let's see. What do we have here? Let's try pink for this. So we've got our kilometers have canceled, our meters have canceled, our centimeters have canceled, our inches have canceled, and we're left with feet, which is what we're looking for. All right. So now let's multiply our top numbers and our bottom numbers together. Multiply our top numbers together, multiply our bottom numbers together. And what are we going to end up with? 500,000 is going to be your number on the top. What's the unit you're left with? Feet. You multiply the bottom, 1 times 1 times 1 times 2.54 times 12. We're going to get 30.48. So now we've multiplied our tops together. We've multiplied our bottoms together. We're ready for our division step. We're ready for our division step. And there we go. Punch that into your calculator. 500,000 divided by 30.48. And you're going to come up with 16,404 feet. Okay. That's how I want you to do these multi-step conversions. We have a few more here. I'm going to do them quicker. So if you need to go back and review, please come back to this first one. So let's look at our 25.5 miles. Again, we need to do our, where are we going to start with? Where are we going to end? We know that we're going to need to go through a gateway here because we're in our English system miles, we're going meters. So somehow we know we got to get to this 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. How are we going to do that? So we know we're going to go from miles to centimeters, miles to inches. We start off by writing our miles above 1. Take our given, put it above 1. What conversions do we have up here for miles? Miles to feet. We have miles on the top. Miles is going to go on the bottom then when we put that conversion in. So now we're to feet. Well, good. We know we need to go to inches. 1 inch or 1 foot is 12 inches. So let's put that one in here. Let me highlight which conversions I've done here. So we put in that term here. So now we're to inches, which is great. Now we can use our gateway. So let's put our gateway in here. Again, we have inches in the top. So when we put our gateway in, we're going to put our inches in the bottom. And we're in centimeters. We need to get to meters. Where's that conversion up here with centimeters? Well, we have 2 of them that are possible, right? We have 2 possible ones. Right? Here's a conversion that uses centimeters, and here's a conversion that uses centimeters. Just keep in mind, we're trying to go to meters. So we pick the one that goes where we want to go, and that's going to be our top one. We want to go 1 meter. This goes 100 centimeters. Centimeters is in the top here, so it better be in the bottom. 1 meter gives us 100 centimeters. Well, we're in meters, which is where we wanted to go. Let's go double check our units. Let's double check our units here. Miles in the top, miles in the bottom, feet in the top, feet in the bottom, inches in the top, inches in the bottom, centimeters in the top, centimeters in the bottom. We're just left with meters. So we've set up our calculation correctly. So now we just need to multiply our tops together, multiply our bottoms together. Again, since all our units in the bottom canceled, so we're just going to have that 100. Our top is left with units of meters. So there we go. And then we just do our final step. Now we do that final division in our calculator, and we're going to see that our answer is 41,038.272. We're going to round that 0.272 to 0.3. We'll talk about that rounding a little bit later this week. And now we've got our answer. Okay. Let's do these next ones much quicker. Much quicker. All right. What are we going to start with? We start with what we're given. We put it over 1. We use our conversion. We know we're going from minutes to days. We don't have any conversions up here from minutes to days because hopefully you know those. Right? We do those so often. So we know we're going from minutes. If we want to go to a bigger unit, we're going to days. Let's take minutes to hours. Again, we write it this way because we have minutes in the top. We want to get minutes in the bottom. We still need to go one more step. We need to go from hours to days. Hours are in the top over here. Hours better be the bottom in this term. What are we going to end up with? Well, we're in days, which is what we're looking for. Let's multiply our tops and bottoms together. Right? 25,000 1,367. That's the only number up here, times 1, easy. The bottom, 60 times 24 gives us 1,440. The only units we had left were the days. Now let's do that final step, our division, and what we can come up with, 17.62 days. All right. Look at our next one here. We're going from feet to centimeters, so we know we're going to need our gateway. So again, I want you to start off with our 6.4 feet. We know our gateway is going to have inches and centimeters, so we know we got to go from feet to inches. Easy peasy. All right, we know 12 inches is 1 foot. Again, how do we write it? Feet in the top, feet in the bottom. Now we're to inches, so we can use our gateway. 2.54 centimeters to 1 inch. And that's what we're looking for in this case, just simply centimeters. Again, our units, feet on top, feet on bottom, inches on top, inches on bottom. If canceled, we're left with just centimeters. Do your multiplication on the top, 6.4 times 12 times 2.54. Our bottom's easy because they're all ones. What are we left with? 195,000.072. And we just rounded that to 195 for our answer. Again, we'll talk about rounding rules and significant figure rules a little bit later this week. A couple more here. Again, I'm going to really go fast. I'm going to go even faster now. We set up our top. Remember, we put it over 1. We're going from kilograms to milligrams. So we find a conversion up in the top that has kilograms to some units smaller. We find there it's going to grams. Kilograms on the top, kilograms on the bottom. Now you got to go from grams to milligrams. That conversion we have up in the top. 1,000 milligrams gives you 1 gram. Units have all canceled. We're left with milligrams is what we're looking for. Do your multiplication. Easy peasy again. The bottoms are all 1. We have 5,320,000 milligrams. Grams to pounds, our next one. We know we're going to have to go through a gateway. Start off, write our given over 1. We know if we're going to go from grams, our gateway has kilograms up here. Kilograms, so we need to go from grams up to kilograms. That's an easy enough conversion you can see up on the top. Again, grams at our top, grams on the bottom, so they cancel. We got kilograms. Perfect. Now we can use our gateway to go from kilograms to pounds. Kilograms on the top, kilograms on the bottom. All of our units have canceled except for the unit we're looking for, pounds. Let's do our multiplication. Multiplied our top, multiplied our bottom. What's our answer going to be? Just punch that final division into your calculator, and you're going to see 11. Okay. 2 more here. Start with what you're given. Put it over 1. We're going to inches to miles. Find a conversion up above that goes to the right direction. We want to go inches to something bigger. So we find inches to feet. We still need to go to miles. We're going to need to put another term in here. Oh, before I go there, we have inches in the top, inches in the bottom. We have feet. We know a conversion up on the top, feet to miles. The feet part goes in the bottom because we have this in the top in our second term. We better have it in the bottom so they cancel out. Now we're left with the right unit we want, miles. Multiply our tops, multiply our bottoms, and then do our final calculation. Right? And we're going to come up with 0.01 miles. All right. Last long calculation here, 30 days, put it over 1. We're going from days to minutes. So we got to go to smaller units. What's the next smaller unit than a day? That's hours. Again, days were in the top. We're going to put our days in the bottom so they cancel. We've got hours. We need to go to minutes. So we have our conversion from minutes and hours. Hours in the top, hours in the bottom. We hit minutes, which is what we're looking for. Our units have canceled, days and days, hours and hours. Multiply your tops, multiply your bottom. Easy peasy again, 43,200. So as long as you follow this process, you can do any of these problems. Middle Teton, 2.3 miles high. How many feet? All right, so we know we're going to start with 2.3 miles. We're going to put that over, and we're going to feet. We're going to put that over 1. Well, you know our conversion from miles to feet. Again, we put the conversion so the miles is in the bottom, so it cancels out the previous one that was on the top. Do your multiplications of your tops and your bottoms. In this case, it's pretty easy because your bottom's just 1. And the final problem, golfer walks 18 holes and walks a total of 21,714 feet. How many miles did they go? Start off with our first term. We're going from feet to miles. How we do that? 21,714 feet, put it over 1. Now we use our conversion from feet to miles. We know that conversion factor. How do we know which way to write it? Well, feet was in the top of our first term. That'll be in the bottom of our second. Our feet cancel each other. We're left with miles. Miles is what we're looking for. Multiply your top and bottom. Easy in this case because they're both ones. Punch the division into your calculator and you end up with 4.1125 miles. We're going to round that to 4.11. All right. Hopefully that helps, guys. That's how we're going to do some of our unit conversions.